Hi everyone, it's Nicole Spohr. Welcome back to my channel. Happy Friday. This is where we do a little paper crafting live. This is pre-recorded today, but I am live in the chat. So I cannot wait to chat with you guys all about card making and all of the fun things today. Today we're going to be using some of the June 2026 release products from Altenew. This is the Craft Your Life kit. We're going to create an underwater trifold scene card. I cannot wait to share some fun tips and tricks on combining all of the elements to make a really adorable card. And as you know, Altenew products are absolutely fabulous. They give you detailed instructions on layering all of those parts and pieces. So we are going to have a little fun creating a wonderful scene today. Before we get started, I do want to let you guys know that Altenew did send me the products to use in today's video, and all opinions are my own. I also want to let you know Altenew has a very special code and coupon for you guys for me to offer my viewers today. I'm so excited about this. The exclusive offer is 15% off the Craft Your Life Project Kit collection. So what you're going to see me use in today's video, you can get 15% off today and tomorrow only with using the code NICHOLKIT. And I love that. So thank you Altenew for offering this for my viewers, and I hope you guys get a chance to do a little shopping if you haven't already. Okay, let's dive in to today's video and let's start with building the base of our card, and then we're going to fill it with all of the cute little fish and turtle. All right, from the Craft Your Life kit today, I want to share what we're going to be using. So we're going to use the Coral Reef Wonders. They are these fabulous fish and turtle set. We're also going to be using the wonderful Ocean Windows die set. It makes the perfect layered scene. You can see I've got a lot of the pieces pre-cut here. We're actually going to talk about that first. We're also using the Coral Reef Wonders stamp set. We're going to use some of the sentiments from this set, and we're also going to use this image here in the background of our card. And I might even pull in a couple of these little images here on the front from the pond lilies here in a minute. I have not fully decided, so as we are creating, we will decide about that. So the first thing we're going to do today is work on the base of our card. And I want to kind of show you the plan for the card. I fiddled around with this quite a bit trying to figure out my layers. And in the Ocean Windows die set, there is quite a few different layers. We're not going to use the largest layer today. It goes really far out to the sides, which is fine, but I don't want to use that for this card. So we're going to use the other 3 dies, so 1, 2, 3, and for those I want to show you the next largest. I have die cut from this layer here, which we are going to use on the front of our trifold card. I am going to add a little ink to this here in a minute. I have pre-trimmed a piece of 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch acetate to fit behind this. So this panel here is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, and so is the acetate. Then we have 2 card bases. So our main card base has the next or the third layer in this set, in the Ocean Windows set. And this is our regular 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card base. The insert piece for this is going to have our final die cut layer. And I have trimmed just a scant bit off of this side. You can also see that I have flipped my card base to open the opposite direction because this piece is going to fit right inside of this like this. And then it's going to open up to reveal an additional sentiment, the fish, and our turtle inside. So wherever we end up placing our turtle, I do want it always to be visible from the front of the card, just like this. So let's go ahead. We're going to set our acetate over to the side. I'm actually going to set everything but our front layer over to the side to begin with. And we're going to do a little inking on our front panel. And I am going to use, I think, a little bit of, I got Volcano Lake and Lagoon out. I think I'm going to start with the Lagoon and we'll see how far we go. So let's just open that up. And what I'm going to do is I am going to start on my glass mat here with my blending brush, and I am going to blend just a little bit of ink around this opening like so. Just tapping a little of that off to lessen my ink. But I don't want the front panel to be super plain. I want to have some of that nice shading around here. And we're just going to continue all the way around, tapping off that ink before bringing it to our cardstock so that we don't get any harsh lines. And I'm just going to kind of pick up a little bit of that from my glass mat as I'm working and pull that on to our panel like so. Okay. Even though I said I didn't want any harsh lines, I kind of got one up here. I want to see if I can blend that out just a little bit more. So I'm just going to take my blending brush now and come out a little bit further all the way around. And I kind of thought I might do a couple of colors, but I have to say I'm really just liking this on here. I think we're probably going to leave it just like that. I'm going to grab a little bit more, and down along this side I'm going to pull a little bit more of that ink out into my cardstock. Okay, that looks pretty good. And this again is the Lagoon color. So next we're going to take our card bases, and for now we're going to move our sweet little turtle over to the side. We're also going to have lots of fish, but I want to build all of my inner pieces first. So that just kind of helps me add a little bit of interest, I think, to this panel. So we're going to take this opening now, and we're going to do the exact same thing with the Lagoon ink. So I'm just going to start off of my cardstock in the center here, and we're going to ink around the opening. Pulling that color onto the card base, adding all of that great interest. And I will have links to all of the colors of cardstock, inks, and products I am using from Altenew today. So definitely grab those links down below. And we also will be popping those all into the chat for you if you are watching this as a premiere. Or during the premiere, I suppose I should say. All right, so let's look now at those layers. Oh, I love how that looks. Okay, one thing I do think we're going to do, I am going to go ahead now and definitely maybe not down the whole side, we'll see, but I'm going to hit each of these corners with whatever ink is left here on my blending brush. Just, I feel like that was a little too plain. We want to have a little extra ink. Okay, I like that better. So here is those front two layers. And then our third layer, which goes this direction, fits in here just like this, but it really is pretty, I think it'll be too much of the same color. So for that, we're actually going to pull a little bit of sapphire. So I'm going to tap on a little bit of the sapphire. I'm going to definitely tap a bunch of that off. Want to be careful with how much I add to this. And we're going to go in kind of light-handed to start with, and we're going to blend in this sapphire ink around our opening, or all these little openings. I really love this die, how it gives you all of those different little openings. And I'm just picking up that extra ink from my glass mat to use here. All right, blending, blending, blending. Let's take a look at this now and see what we think. Oh, I think that looks great. All right, so here is the base. All of that wonderful ocean windows for our card. Let's clean up our glass mat, and we're going to do a little stamping, and then we're going to do a little splatter to add additional interest. And I want to do this now so that that goes ahead, that can go ahead and dry while we work on assembling all of our fish and goodies for our card. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to grab our Coral Reef Wonders stamp set, and I want to stamp these fish. And they are kind of made to look like they're off in the distance. So I want to look at this. I kind of think I want to stamp it off the edge just like that. Okay, so once I'm happy with where that is going to get stamped, we will go ahead and pop that into our stamp positioner. And we are going to use the same sapphire ink that we used for inking that last opening. I think that'll give us a nice off in the distance look for our fish. I'm going to ink this really good with our sapphire ink. And I'm going to stamp it more than once to get a good impression. Just like that. And we want to make sure that it's stamped well everywhere. That looks good. Okay. So let's look at our scene. I like to double check as I'm working and make sure that I like how everything is looking. In this case, we have our first two layers, and then we have our front layer. Now this layer is going to have a piece of acetate behind it, like so. So the next thing we're going to do is, before I start adding my splatter, excuse me, my splatter, and look how you can see the fish off in the distance. I love that. I want to stamp one of the phrases from the Coral Reef Wonders stamp set on here, and I'm going to use a little Stazon ink to stamp this right on the acetate, so that when you open this window, that's kind of going to go away, and we will end up having another sentiment right in here. I kind of imagine for this card, you would be able to write your sentiment kind of like just over here, like have a great day, love mom in my case, or something like that, or love Nicole, whatever, whoever I'm sending it to. But I am imagining our turtle is kind of going to go right in here. We don't want him to overlap into this, kind of like that. So I want a sentiment down here, and I want a sentiment on that window. So we're going to go ahead and do both of those things right now. and then add some splatter. Okay, I have a little cotton white Stazon ink here. This is a solvent ink. You're going to want to use a solvent ink for stamping on your acetate, or you're going to want to use a heat-resistant acetate and do some stamping and embossing. My preference is the Stazon ink. I generally like the results a little bit better. So I've inked that up, and we're just going to stamp that right on the acetate. And I'm only using my frame as a guide so I can see where I'm stamping. And let's stamp our main word. It doesn't really look like I need to stamp the rest of it again. And I probably need a new ink pad, to be honest. But for now, we're going to make this work. Okay, perfect. After we have that, we're going to do some stamping and embossing in white on the dark cardstock inside of our card. Okay, so right down here below our school of fish, I'm going to prep this with a powder tool and then stamp it with a clear ink and heat emboss with white embossing powder. I think I'll stamp it a couple times. So on the front it says, "You make life fin-tastic." And inside it's going to say, "Wishing you a turtly awesome birthday." I love the fun little punny sentiments for this. They add a really fun element to our card. Okay, so now that we have our sentiments, and I want to make sure we buff that off of there. I also don't want to get any ink on this half, so I'm just going to put a piece of cardstock here to help protect that. I only want it to get some splatter on this half. And I did pull out some white splatter. Grab your favorite splatter product. And I'm protecting this side. If you wanted to decorate it, you could. Whoops, that's not the right end of the paintbrush at all. If you want to, but I'm protecting this side so it makes it easy to write a little note to the recipient. And we're going to be generous because we want it to kind of give it that oceany, spatter, bubbly kind of vibe. See how much I got? There you go when I tilt it. So definitely pays to protect it. Okay, we're going to set that aside to completely dry. I'm going to grab my acetate and move that out of the way. And I want to go ahead now, and I'm just going to actually protect this. It doesn't really matter, I don't suppose, but I'm going to try to anyway. And let's actually just do them one at a time. We're going to do this layer here. And really you can only see it around this opening, but I'm going to go ahead and get that nice and spattered up. And then we're going to do the front. which is going to add some nice interest here to the front along with our inking. Okay, so we've got our layers, oh shoot, spattered, and I want to set those aside to completely dry. Okay, while we're letting everything dry, we're going to move on to the turtle and fish building part of the video. But I do want to remind everybody that you can save 15% off this Craft Your Life project kit collection with code NICHOLKIT right now, today and tomorrow, August 14th and 15th only. And thank you to Altenew for offering such a great discount to my viewers. So super excited about this. And now we're going to work on building our cute little fish and turtle critters. Okay, so we are going to work with our Coral Reef Wonders set now. And this is a layering die set. We're going to start with our clownfish. So I have some pieces here, and I decided to do 2 small and 1 big. We are going to do some of the other fish too, but I felt like with all these little parts and pieces, it would probably be best to work in smaller areas, or work with smaller areas. Yeah, we're working with smaller areas to work with one thing at a time. Now, the great thing about the instructions is there's guides to show you how they go together. So you put the dark orange, light orange, black, and then white, and then we've got black and orange for the little fin. So we are going to find our black pieces for this. And I need to see how this goes. I'm going to reference it myself to make sure that I get this correct. Because the magic for these sets is the layering. That's what gives all of the fabulous, realistic look here. Okay. So just like that. For one of the pieces. And then this one goes right here. And it has like a little line on the base piece, so you can see right where that lines up. And then we have this little piece for the fin, so we want to set that aside. So now we want white. And this is going to layer right over that. Look at that. So I'm going to put a little glue on the back. And we're simply going to line this one up where you just see that little hint of black now. And then this, of course, layers right here on the other one. And we're going to do the same thing for the smaller size clownfish as well. Oh, shoot. Okay. So then we want to line up our little fin here. And I'm going to put a little glue right there. And we're going to put the little layer piece. Just like so. How cute is that? Okay, the one thing I'm going to do for mine is I'm just going to take a black pen to begin with, and I am going to color in this part for the eye. And we're going to let that dry, and we're going to go back and make a little white highlight here in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and do the smaller fish now. I'll do one of them and then I'll do the other one off camera. So just like the other fish, we're going to layer the lighter orange piece on the darker. And then we're going to layer on our black pieces here. And I'm gonna go in and add a little glue to the base like that. And then we're going to layer on the white pieces right on top. And they just line up so easily. You can't go wrong. I'm going to put a little glue down and then pop this, I think. These little pieces are pretty small, some of these. So just take your time as you are assembling. And then, of course, we want to add on let me see. Add our little fin. There we go. Just like that. Okay, so let's put together our turtle now. So we've got our clownfish here. And I'm going to start adding my pieces for our turtle. Beginning with this great layering piece like this. And I think what we're going to do, let's start with a little olive. We'll see if we want to bump it up to moss. Oh, I might want to bump it up to moss. I don't know. We're going to do a little inking. And I'm going to take a little bit of the moss color too. I didn't do any for the fish. They're a little bit smaller, and I felt like the turtle maybe could benefit from a little bit of inking and shading here, so we're just going to add, I think I like the moss color better. So I'm just kind of going to go over what I've done before. There we go. And I definitely recommend checking out the guide. In fact, let's look at the guide again. So it shows you exactly all the pieces to put together your turtle. And there's a couple of little layering pieces here. They cut with that first base layer of your sea turtle. So they're going to be that lighter color. And after we have them on, then we will do a little inking. So I'm just going to go ahead and go in with my blending tool and add a tiny touch. We don't want it to be super flat, but I don't really want to change the color either. So I'm just going to add a touch there to our turtle. Okay, next we have the first solid piece here that goes on. And before we add this, I am going to go in here and just add a little bit along the edge. Some of this is going to get covered, but we're going to add a little bit. And then this guy lines up about like that. I bet you I should have moved his foot up a little bit. I see. There we go. There we go. Better. Okay. Then we have our next layering piece right here. And I know this is green on brown, but I just need the shading. We're not really getting like the color. So I'm just kind of taking that dark color on that. That's perfect. Okay, then we're going to glue this down in place. And this kind of lines up here with the top. Just like so. Look at that turtle coming to life. Okay, I do have the eye pieces. We'll get to those in just a minute. We're going to do all of the shell first. We have our third solid layering piece for our turtle shell. And again, this just lines up kind of up here with that top edge. And then finally we have our final layering piece, which I have out of a nice light tan, but I am going to go just around the edges a little bit with my green. Not all the way, but a little bit. You could also use brown ink, I suppose, but I'm being lazy, so. And this lines exactly up with that layer underneath it. And I am going to use a magnet to help hold that down. Now for our eye, there are a couple of tiny little layering pieces, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and put a little dab of glue. And then we're just going to pick up those little pieces and pop those in place. and finish. And I think I will do a little pin detail on that as well. Probably let that dry just a minute first though. Okay, I'm going to go in and do a little cleanup of glue. There we go. That looks better. So then I'm just going to take my black pin and I'm just kind of going over this cardstock underneath. Not maybe even covering it all the way up, but enough. Look at that. Okay, so this is the, looks like it says Moorish idol in the instructions. Look, I wouldn't know fish, any of them, but I'm just going to see whatever yellow I have on my blending brush left over. And I'm just going to do a little spot. And I'm going to show you the instruction sheet. It shows you this. And even tells you to use limestone, or no, fresh lemon, pardon me. You can also do a little limestone to make your fish a little bit gray. Maybe I'll see what's left on my gray blending brush too. So see this right here, that's the fish we're working on. So I'm just going to take my brush, and I've inked something with gray recently. So I'm just going to use whatever was left on here, like so. Really light. Then we're going to do, oops, our little black areas. I'm going to start with this piece here. And we're going to layer that on. And we're also going to do the bigger section. I'm going to do these bigger, let me see. Yes, it says to do all of these first. I definitely recommend following the guide so you know what order to place everything. And then we're going to put this in here. And we have a little vellum piece, and even the die tells you to cut these fins in yellow vellum, pardon me. So right there, just like so. And I'm just going to take a white pen for a little extra detail. Okay. Let's do our blue tang next. Again, I would not know these fish names from Adam, but it tells you right in the instruction sheet. And I'm going to show that to you again too as we start this next fish. So these layers are both going to be in our blue. I use the same color. You could use different colors if you want to. So here's our blue tang. Shows you all of the steps. We're going to do this black layering piece next. And vellum again. We also have a little yellow piece here. And there is an additional eye piece, maybe just to give it dimension, I guess. Oh, it really does. Cute. Okay, so I got a little bit of glue. Just going to take the tip of my tweezers and kind of clean that up a little bit. Gonna go like that. There we go. Do a little tidy up, if you will. All right, one final fish, and you could use as many or as few of these as you want to. I chose to use all of them. I did a couple, I did an additional clownfish. And once we have these in our card, we may see that we want more fish. So I'm not ruling that out. This fish is called our yellow tang. So we have our yellow tang and our blue tang. I think this one has fewer pieces. I'm going to just put a little glue. And there is a super tiny piece. I don't know if you can cut that from black or what, but I'm actually just going to add a little dab of a black pen instead of using that little tiny die. Just like that. That's perfect. And let's show you this yellow tang. And then let's kind of come over to our card and see how things are going to go together. So I did grab my layers. Look how cute this is. And I laid in a few things, but nothing is glued down yet. So at this point, it is a great opportunity to see about extra layering. I'm just going to lift this top portion off, and I am going to see about this. I really want to just get an idea for placement before I commit to anything. And with our stamping on acetate, as you can see, anything you put behind it, you're going to still be able to see, which I love. I want this to look like a really cool underwater scene. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to end up with a couple on that layer there, which I do like. And I'm going to go ahead and put a little glue like that. Oh, I think I put glue in the wrong area actually. Let's try that again. So I find it helpful to kind of just hold that where I want it. Yeah, it needed to be right there. Okay, same thing for our little clownfish that's going to go on this layer. Let's just put a little glue here. And we're going to play around with that placement just a bit, okay? And then go ahead and adhere that. Okay, so I'm going to leave those, and we are going to attach our turtle. Just like this. And I'm going to keep double checking. Make sure I like everything. And we're going to open all the way up. Our final fish might get popped in here if I choose to use both of them. So let's just kind of give it a little peek and see if there's anything else we want to move around. I wouldn't mind having another one over here. Let's go ahead. Maybe a bigger fish should go over in here. And whoops, oh shoot. This one might go underneath. I kind of think that might be what we do. Okay, so we might remove one of those fish altogether. I'm not 100% that I like anything in the background or in the back of my card. So if we would do that guy there, we could potentially maybe do our blue tang like maybe like that. Kind of like that a little bit better. Just play around with the placement. It's all about that placement down here. Okay, I think I like this. Let's go ahead. I'm going to use my magnets to hold that in place. And we're going to add our remaining fish. And we'll add that guy here in just a minute. So here's what we're going to do. Let's add this clownfish. Let's double check that. That looks great. I like that a lot. And we're going to take some double-sided adhesive now and attach these front layers. Okay, I put double-sided adhesive on the back of this piece, and we're just going to take, I'm going to take my acetate to this piece, like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and add it again. This is a lot less messy when you're dealing with acetate. The tape adhesive or a tape runner rather than liquid glue. I use liquid glue a lot, but for this, I definitely don't want to. And it's so fun to try to find ways to create an interactive card. In this case, we have this wonderful little trifold, and we're going to line this panel up now with the front of our card. Just like that. Look how cute. Okay, then we're going to open this up. And on the inside, I am going to put a generous amount of glue here because we're going to slip inside our card going the opposite way. And it is slightly shorter on that long side, so I'm going to line it up with this outer edge. Like that. We're going to let that glue dry for just a second. And I'm thinking we might try to find a way to incorporate this fish in here. We're just going to lay it in here for right now. Or I really like the turtle on this layer by itself. I see I kind of forgot to add a little bit of splatter, so we're probably going to try to add a little splatter to this as well. I lie. I think we're going to leave that fish out. Sometimes one of my best tips is if you're looking at your card and you're thinking something is not working, the answer is not always adding something. Sometimes it is taking away something. And in this case, I really think the answer is to take away one of the fish. So this fish is slightly on top and slightly underneath. I did make a little bit of a glue boo-boo. So let's just kind of try to clean that up. Oh, look at the great layering. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, so now we want to fix, let's try this again. Let's go back with our black. There we go. Okay, so this panel didn't have any of the white spatter on it, and I definitely want a little bit, and we can put it on the turtle. If you don't want any on the turtle, you can always cover it up. And then I've masked off the rest of my card because we've either got spatter on it or I don't want any. But this definitely adds to that underwater feel. We will have to give this a little bit of dry time, but I think we'll be glad that we have it. Oh, cute, cute. Okay, so everything is dry. The final thing I'm going to do is I wanted to add some little heart bubbles. I just found something in my stash. And we're going to put these little clear hot hearts. If you have some little bubbles, you could do those too. But I always love a good little heart, so I found these in my stash and I thought these would be cute. So we have a few little bubbles coming out there to finish off just a really simple little embellishment. I guess I could do some more if I wanted to. But I kind of think I just want to keep them there. I don't really want to put any on my acetate. So we have this wonderful acetate window that starts our scene, opens it up to our adorable little turtle, and then finishes off with the inside of our card, wishing you a turtly awesome birthday. Really cute and fun. Great way to incorporate lots of the product from the Craft Your Life kit and to make an interactive card. And even with all of these layers, this is not a super thick card. So let me show it more from this angle. Let me show it from the bottom. You should still be able to stick this in a regular envelope. You may want to put a little additional postage on it just because of the bumps. If you put embellishments, if you left the embellishments off, probably would be okay with it as is. So there is my finished card. I did end up leaving out one of my fish, which is totally fine. And I want to remind everybody that you can save 15% on this Craft Your Life kit Today and tomorrow, August 14th and 15th only. Use NICHOLKIT at checkout, and I hope you're able to pick this up, or maybe you're shopping for some other things, whatever that may be. But thank you guys so much for joining me today for our super sweet underwater scene card. The supplies I used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Bye!